welcome to our video about the rules of combat for the big day. We're going to be showing you how to fight with sword tag weapons, what the rules are, and Jack and Joellen are going to help me demonstrate all this. So let's get to it, shall we? You can choose to fight with weapons, or you can choose to fight with magic, and everybody's already, I think, kind of made their choice. If you are fighting with magic, you do not get to use a sword or even a staff to fight with. You can use a dagger, and you can either throw that, or you can, as long as it's padded on both ends, or you can just use that for tight in close fighting. But if you're a magic user, you're probably going to be using mostly spells to fight with. But it's not a bad idea to have a little something like this on your person just in case. All right, guys, so here are the rules for fighting sword tag wise. Basically, each of us will have 8 hit points. That means you can get hit 8 times before you are dead. And every time your sword touches another person, that's a point off. Now so now you're at 7, exactly. So there are a couple places that do not count. Hands.
Just do it.
Okay. So hands and forearms do not count. You don't lose any points for those, because you're going to find you actually do get hit in the hands and forearms. You're brushed against them fairly regularly. Headshots and groin shots are illegal. You cannot do those. Now, occasionally it might happen on accident. You do not take points away. So Jack, if I were to accidentally hit Jack in the head with my sword, he would not lose a point. I would lose a point.
What?
Because that is an illegal shot.
Ooh.
So keep your weapons away from heads and groins, because you will actually take damage for those.
But does it count if you hit them on the hand?
No, it does not. No, you do not lose any points if you hit somebody on the hand or forearm. Hand or forearm, just basically, it's like they're not even
Happens
there.
all the time.
Happens all the time.
If a throwing dagger hits someone in the face, do they lose a point? The other person, because that is illegal.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So definitely, if you're going to be using a throwing dagger, or I've even seen people build arrows with long pieces of foam on the end of them and fire those. If you hit somebody in the head, that is, although in a video game or on an actual battlefield, that would be considered an excellent shot. We're all just friends here, and no one should be getting hit in the head.
It's about finesse.
And as an extra little bit of rule, it's called sword tag, not sword bone breaking. So you get points by tapping. So you're going to find that the more angry you get during a fight, you're really going to want to swing that sword and try to get those points in there. That is not cool. So you don't want to go too hard. And in fact, if anyone who is fighting you is going too hard, you have the obligation, or you have the latitude to say, you're going too hard, tone it down. Because it's only just tapping. So feel free at any point, if somebody is getting a little too aggressive, tell them, take it back a notch. We're all friends here. Nobody is going to actually win the game, so there's no reason to try and clobber your opponent.
That also makes for bad strategy. When you first get the sword in your hands, you're just going to want to hit swords, because that's what we're used to doing and seeing on television. But that makes you lose. Sean, if you do a slow motion two-handed of me, so you see if he's coming in too hard, or say you're coming for this arm, when he's doing that, and he's using all of his energy on that and trying to do a very hard strike, that's not tag, that's just trying to hurt someone. By the time he does that, he gets one hit on me. Now he has to pull back and start over. By then, I could have tagged him 8 times. It's all about finesse, speed, and tagging, not hitting.
Well said.
Very nice. Sure, get closer, please. Comes down to this. Oh, and there it is.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in here now. So we just saw Joellen win the fight. Jack he is lost, so he has sat down. You don't have to splay out all over the ground. I mean, you can if you want to be dramatic. But all you have to do is sit down. Now, what happens now now that the dog of death has moved in to take his soul away to the afterworld? Joellen has the option to loot him of any gold or treasure that he has found during the course of the day.
But she probably won't.
So the way that this works is that Joellen now says, I'm going to loot you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That corpse.
Alright.
So now Jack would hand over any gold pieces that he has on him and any treasures that he's found. And any treasures that he finds will be game official. It'll come with a card. He hands over that card as well. So now Joellen, having looted Jack's body and taken his spoils, is now free to leave the battleground and go on her way adventuring. And Jack, once she is out of sight, Jack, you can stand back up again.
I feel
Because we're not, so when you lose all of your hit points in battle, you don't actually die, you're just defeated. So now Jack has all 8 of his hit points back. He doesn't have any of his stuff anymore, but he can go on and find new stuff and go off and adventure and keep going with the game.
You know what I'm gonna do?
What's that?
I'm getting my stuff back from her.
And that's how it works.
What?
How do you lose
Yeah.
a weapon?
How do you lose a weapon? Okay, that's very, very good question. Very good question. So, when you are looting, the only things that you can loot are gold coins and treasure. So you can't take a person's weapon,
Yeah.
you can't take their character sheet, you can't take their hat, you can't take anything like that. You can only take coins or treasure. So, and more to the point, only treasure that comes with a game-approved treasure card. So if a person happens to have brought their grandmother's fine necklace that they're wearing, you can't take that either. So it's only stuff that they have acquired during the game.
Now, what if my sword is broken, or say I have a throwing dagger and I lose it, or it goes away, someone else takes it, then what?
Then you are missing that weapon at that point. So if you are in luck, you'll be able to find a character who has extra weapons who's willing to sell one of them, or you can go back to the inn, and there will be a weapons supplier there, and if you find a way to get some more gold, you can buy a new weapon. They won't be that expensive, but that's your option at that point. But yes, definitely, if your weapon breaks, go get a new weapon, because
You'll lose.
and broken weapons can be very dangerous to fight against because they'll have sharp edges and stuff like that. So, yeah. And if you are completely out of gold and have no weapon, come see the Dragon's Advocate, and he will see what he can do to help to hook you up. So, that's a very good question.
Good hit. Alright, I call in my wizard.
Here comes your wizard. I'm casting a fireball.
Okay.
And I hit her with the fireball. Actually, that was a ball of duct tape. It'll be something different on the day that's not a ball of duct tape. But because I hit Joellen with a fireball spell, that is an instant defeat. So Joellen would then at this point sit down, instantly defeated. And if Jack and I wanted to loot her, we could. So that is why you don't want to get hit with a spell. There are spells that can be thrown, and there are other spells that just are not ballistic spells, but that's why you don't want to get hit with one. You can knock it away with your sword if you can, and imagine a big dramatic effect of an explosion happening, but you're okay. Better just to dodge if somebody tries to throw a spell at you. The one thing that you have to do in order to throw a spell is you have to call out what the spell is before you throw it. That's why I said, I'm throwing a fireball, or I'm casting a spell. So you can't just sneak up behind somebody and just hit them with it. Although that would be cool, that's not going to be part of the rules. Alright, I'm casting a spell, and lightning bolt. Okay, so Joellen expertly knocked away my spell. So she was not affected by it. Now, I, as the wizard, have a problem. because I don't have another lightning bolt spell on me. I didn't buy one. So now she can come in and attack me, and I'm going to be in trouble. Unless I have a warrior with me who can help protect me. That's why it's good to travel in teams. Here comes my warrior. Thank you, warrior. Now that I have my warrior here to help me out, I have one or two other spells in my back pocket, literally, that I'm going to pull out here. These are Magic the Gathering cards. This is not what they will look like on the day, but this is what we're using as the stand-in for the moment because I have a box of 1,000 pieces of land. So, but one of these cards, theoretically, is a spell called Wrath of Brambles. So, back to your fighting stances, please. All right, and battle is going on. I'm standing back here where it's safe, and I yell, "I'm casting a spell!" So go ahead and stop combat for a second. Whenever somebody says I'm casting a spell, everybody should stop so that the person can say what the spell is and what it does. I'm casting Wrath of Brambles, which means, and I'm reading it off the card here, vines grow out of the ground to wrap around my enemy's legs so that they cannot move their feet for the remainder of combat. You can still fight, you can still dodge, you just can't move your feet. Now, if Joellen doesn't believe that that's what's written on this card, and instead this card might just say you get 10 extra gold, she can say, I want to see that card.
Hey, I want to see that card.
All right, here you go. You can take a look at the card and see what it says.
It's a mana pool.
Right, that's because it's a Magic the Gathering. It does actually say mana pool. But had it actually said Wrath of Brambles, then she would be able to know exactly what the spell does. So, I've only got one of those cards. I can only cast it once per combat, so now I don't have that one anymore. So now we can resume with our battle, and Joellen simply just can't move
come
her
over
feet.
here. Why don't you go over here and hit me? You can.
This makes it much harder. This is why it's good to travel in pairs. Now Joellen is pretty much dead. So she is, and now we can loot her. So that is how magic works in terms of combat. There will be other spells that are not combat based, they'll do other things, but that's how magic works in combat. So that is our demonstration of how combat works and how magic works in combat. Did you guys enjoy it?
Yeah.
I got a workout,
Yeah, it's definitely a
Yes.
and I got my butt kicked. But I love it.
Excellent. Well, I'm sad that you guys can't be at the party, but thank you very much for at least doing the demonstration with us. It was like you were there.
Then thank
So,
you, and have a great time for us.
All right. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.